Today we're going to take a look at Adhere for Legal. We're going to look at tools that we use every day, like Outlook and Office, and how they integrate with Alfresco to provide a seamless experience for an attorney or any other user of a legal system. So we'll start out in Outlook, and we are currently looking at the attorney's inbox. And in their inbox, we see that we have a services contract that needs to be brought into the system, processed, and executed. So to start off, all we need to do to get the mail into Alfresco is use our Alfresco Outlook client and drag the mail into our Matters folder. So our Matters folder is here. We are just going to drag this matter over. It's going to transfer over, it's going to process, and then when we open up our Matters folder, we see that we have our 132, which is unique identifier, Acme Services Matters folder. When we open it up, we see the services contract that was attached to this email has automatically been placed in the Matters folder. We also see that the email itself has been archived under the correspondence folder. So the Acme Services email and the contract is there as well. But the main contract we'll be looking at is here. We've automatically provisioned this folder. So within this, we also have a legal checklist, which is just a simple checklist that we can templatize based on the type of matter we have. Right here we have a services agreement, which has been created automatically from the email body having services agreement. We can extract from the body of the email easily to further automate these systems. So what we actually want to do is go ahead and look at the details of our matter folder. So when we right click and come into details, the new matter folder opens in Alfresco Share. So when we come down and look at our contract details, we see we have a services agreement, again automatically extracted and put into that location. But what we really want to do here is change a couple properties. So when we click to edit here, we can come down, set things like our effective from and to date. We'll just say it's effective from today until the end of the month. We have matter ID, legal counsel, all of the different things that we've automatically provisioned here. Our terms, again, our contract type is services agreement. And from here, we can actually add related documents or related matters. So let's actually add a new related matter. We're going to do that by clicking select, coming into our matters folder, and we see that we have another previous contract from Acme. So we're going to go ahead and add that as a related matter. When we click OK, we're going to see that that is now in that location. We can save our properties, and when we navigate again back into our matter folder, we see all of the information that we had before. So under our related materials, we saw our 122 Acme contract. If we want to look at a different view here, we can look at a detailed view. And in that view, we see that this is actually a link. So the existing matter is simply linked from here. If we wanted to add other documents into this, all that we really need to do is drag and drop. So let's say we have an NDA as well. So we drag and drop that into our related materials folder, and that gives us a way to organize and collect our content. So what we want to do next is really take a look at the contract itself, our services contract. So to take a look at this, all that we really need to do is come over and select Edit Online. This is going to open the document directly in Word, so we don't have to download it locally. It's going to handle versioning automatically for us and help automate overall. So we'll log in as our attorney. In a production environment, this would be handled by the system user so that we wouldn't need to be entering credentials. But when we come in, we're going to see that our document is now opened in Word, and we actually are just going to go an extra step here to check out the document so that we can add comments before we check back in. So we can come down in the document and make changes. So this change is being made by the attorney. another change to the document. So we make our changes. We can go ahead and save. And then we can check our document in by clicking the check-in button. And we're now prompted if this is a minor version or a major version and to add any comments. So we're going to select minor version here, and our version comment can just be made initial revisions to the document. Now check it in. We see that now it's read-only because we've checked it back in. We can close the document, close Word, and take a look at the document itself in Alfresco. We're going to see that now we have updated so that we are now in version 1.1. Our changes are reflected here. We can see, if we zoom in a bit, that we have our changes reflected in the preview. We can also scroll down and see that our initial revision to the document comment has been persisted, and we have our last version 1.1. So what we really now want to do is really reach out to other users of the system, both internal and external, to collaborate on this document to get legal feedback, whatever it is that we need to do in order to complete our matter. So what we can do here is, from our list of document actions, is actually email this contract as a link. So when we click email as link, this is actually going to open Outlook and give us a link to this document. So we actually want to have someone in sales take a look at this contract. So we are going to just link it to them. Please review and modify as necessary. What's really important here is that we are sending a link, so we can ensure very easily that the documents that we're sending are secure. The other user has to log into Alfresco in order to see this document. So we can go ahead and send that link to our other internal user. So we can go ahead and do that, and we can send our document. Likewise, when we are in Outlook, we have a lot of the same functionality that we have in Alfresco. So just as we sent that services contract as an attachment, as a link from Alfresco, we also can send it as a link or an attachment from the Outlook client. So when we want to send this to an external user who maybe doesn't have access to our system, we can just click email as attachment, and that is going to send the document now as an attachment rather than a link to the user. So let's just go ahead and send that. Please update as required. Find attached. We can go ahead and send that. And now that can go to an external collaborator who can make changes directly to the document itself. So now we're kind of done as the attorney, so we're going to go ahead and log out. But what we do want to do is go into another inbox, and this is our sales users inbox. So we sent that email as a link, the document as a link, to our sales user. So that sales user can now see in their inbox in Thunderbird that they have the please review and modify as necessary email with the link. When we click on that, it's going to prompt us for credentials. We're going to log in as our sales user. And now we see the same view as before with that the attorney saw. We can look at the previous revisions and we can make changes. So let's go ahead and edit online. We're now going to log in instead of as the attorney as our sales user. And now we too can make changes to the document. What I showed with checking out and checking in before is a nice feature, but it's not something we need to do. So a less tech-savvy user can still do everything that they need to by just editing the document online, making edits as the sales user. They can just save. It re-uploads to the repository. We close the document, and when we return to Alfresco and refresh, we're going to see that the document has now gone from version 1.1 to version 1.2, and we see our changes in the preview as well. Finally, if we scroll down further, we see the services contract has had another change made to it. We can, of course, revert to previous versions or even download previous versions. So at that point, we have had our sales user make modifications, but we want to, as an attorney, just one final time, come in and see what all has been done to the document, and then finally mark the matter as complete. So when we come back to our contracts folder, go in, take a look at our contract, under our document library, under our matters, finally our 132 Acme service. Service contract is here. What we actually want to do is go ahead and compare this to see a red line, to see the previous versions, how it's changed. So to do that, we can just use Word. Again, using tools we already know and use every day. We can click Edit Online. This time we're going to log in as the attorney. And then we can use the built-in version compare within Word. So when we click on the initial version, we can compare with current, and we can see all of the changes to the document. If we show all markup, that's the nicest way to be able to see all this. So we can see that we removed the placeholder text, added these different changes, and we have this view here. So as the attorney, we can go ahead and accept all the changes, make sure that everything looks good to us, and then move back into Alfresco to finalize our document. So back in Alfresco, we're now ready to mark our matter as complete. So the entire case has now been processed as we want it to. So we're going to come into our properties on the matter folder, case folder. We can change our status from active to complete. When we save this, what we're going to see is that a workflow has automatically been kicked off. And for the sake of brevity, we've assigned that workflow just to our current user, our attorney user. In a production environment, this could go to a third-party or different user in order to make this review. But we see legal review for 132 Acme services. When we click into that, we can then see that we have kind of all of the information that we need. We see that this review is due in a week. We also see that we have the items themselves, the case folder attached. So we can review the case, look at the contracts, look at everything within the document, and then finally come back to our home, go back to our task, and either approve or reject this. So we're going to go ahead and click approve, and that is going to complete our processing of this legal case.